Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Days. Today we're making sweet potato biscuits. I promised you this recipe, so we're going to try it. I've made them before and I've even tried to do the gluten-free. The gluten-free I have not perfected, so we're doing the regular, just by the book so to speak. And it calls for 2½ cups of flour, 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, then 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1/2 cup of shortening. I'm using butter, not shortening. 1/2 cup of pecans, and I didn't get the pecans out because I didn't want pecans in mine this time. 3/4 cup of mashed cooked sweet potatoes. So I have my potatoes, I haven't mashed them yet, but they're cooked. And 1/2 cup of milk, and we're changing it to almond milk because that's all I have, guys. So the first part is you combine your flour, salt, baking powder, your spices, and you mix them all together. And that's what we're going to do now. In place of shortening, I'm adding butter. And I've melted it some and cooled it off so it's not hot, it's room temperature. And at this time, if you were adding nuts, you go ahead and add your pecans or whatever nuts you want to it. And you just kind of get it to a crumbly mixture. That's what you want for this. You don't want it wet or anything, you just want it crumbly. Okay, we have this bowl that has your flour, sugar, and butter, and your spices in it, and it's kind of crumbly. And in this bowl, we have our sweet potatoes and our milk that's just kind of a soupy mix. So what we're doing now is we're adding the sweet potatoes to the flour, and that's all that there is to it. And you just fold it in. You just make sure everything is mixed well because you don't want dry particles in it. Yeah, once you get it kind of mixed, you can put your hands in and mix it really good like biscuit dough, and you can tell that it is wet. It doesn't need any more milk to it. It's fine. And it calls for putting it out on a floured surface and kneading it just a little bit and then making your biscuits. As you can see, some of the biscuits are not quite the same size as the others, but they're reasonably close. They'll cook pretty well. We're putting them in the oven at, I think it's 400 for 12 to 15 minutes. And we'll show you what they look like when they come out of the oven. Okay guys, here's my biscuits. I've already flipped them over so that they can brown a little bit more on the bottom, but that's what they look like. I'm gonna pick the smallest one, probably this one here, and we're gonna see what it tastes like. They're still hot, very hot. It has a touch of sweet, a touch of spice. It's not too over spicy, like a cookie would be really, really spicy. This is just a slight spicy taste. These would be awesome with either maple syrup, cane syrup, you name it. I think it would be a really good, this is what I do for breakfast. Danny heats one up, I pour syrup over it, or I have strawberry syrup. I do add strawberry syrup to it. So these are sweet potato biscuits. If you like it, try them. If you like sweet potatoes. I've tried the gluten-free, I told you before. I've not perfected that recipe, but if I do, I'll let you know. Thank you guys from Crazy Days.